Let me see, how can I go live on? It did yeah, it's not. I can't go live on Instagram, so for some reason it's not working. All right, we'll do that for another day. Okay, so welcome to Blue Veil Wellness. I am so glad you're here. I'm Cristy Murray, Catholic nurse practitioner, and this is the show where we talk about faith, food, and function, because real wellness isn't just about your lab numbers or what you had for breakfast. It's about understanding your body, trusting the way it was made, and caring for it well, mind, body, and spirit. Today's conversation is one I've been really excited about. I'm looking forward to it. We are going to talk about something that so many women in this community have experienced and quietly wondered about: why it's so hard to lose weight, even when I'm doing everything right. If you have ever eaten clean, moved your body, cut the sugar, tried the program, and still felt like your metabolism didn't get the memo, this episode is for you. Today's guest is going to help us understand why and what to do about it. And if you have a question as we go, drop it in the chat. We will be checking in. I'll do my best to answer your question into the conversation. So now we have Dr. Sherry Brewer. I want to tell you a bit more about her before we get started, because her background is really fascinating. She is a double board certified physician in both internal medicine and integrative medicine. She is also certified in functional medicine. So she has trained deeply in both conventional and root cause medicine, which is a really awesome blend. But here is what makes her really interesting. And before she became a physician, she was a chemical engineer, lifelong learner. So think about that for a moment. An engineer turned doctor who now specializes in metabolic health. She just doesn't ask you what your symptoms are. She asks, what is the system doing and why? That engineering lens, that systems thinking approach, is exactly what many women need when the standard answers haven't worked. She's the founder of Body by Alchemy, and she is the author of a book called Why You Can't Lose Weight, which we will be talking about today. Her mission is to help women, especially professional women, understand the real biological reasons their metabolism isn't responding, so they can finally move forward with clarity and instead of frustration. So welcome to Blue Veil Wellness, Dr. Brewer. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So before we dive in, I'd love to have you share a little bit about your journey and how you went from engineering to medicine.
So engineering was my pre-med degree. So I did it knowing I was going to go to medical school. I wanted to be a biomedical engineer, but back when I trained, that was kind of a new field and you couldn't get a degree in that. So they pushed me toward chemical engineering. There were a bunch of advisors doing blood flow research and stuff like that. But I just love math and science and problem solving. And and then when I found functional medicine, I was like, oh, this is like engineering, like you're trying to figure out problems. So it just really fit with my problem solving brain.
Yeah, I love functional medicine because it's not just a Band-Aid, like here's what's presented to you and this is what you do. But functional medicine, you really go upstream and really figure out what's causing what. So then you heal really from inside out.
Right. And everybody is different. So 10 people can come with you with the same problem, like hypothyroidism, but all of them have a different root cause. And so it makes it really fun. It's like a puzzle.
Yeah. It's like you're investigating things. Yeah. So before we get into all the science, I just have to do this because I ask every guest and I love the answers that I get. So let's start with some icebreakers. What book are you reading right now?
Mind Over Matter. I also love quantum physics, and I'm really interested in how we are just vibrational atoms and how our thoughts can actually change our physiology. And also, I really believe, like the quantum physicists believe, that we are manifesting our life. So I love reading about how our thoughts impact our life and even our health. So yeah, I'm
Wow.
reading this book, Mind Over Matter.
Sounds really sciencey. So what is the first thing you do in the morning? The very first thing you do in the morning?
Feed my cat. My cat knows when it's time to get up and sits on my chest. So I usually feed
Oh,
my cat. And then I usually drink. I mean, I'm always dry in the morning. So I probably drink like 32 ounces of water with electrolytes before I
oh,
do
wow.
anything else after I feed my cat.
Wow. What kind of electrolytes do you put? Now I'm curious.
I use different ones. I've been using Ultima recently just because I want to, it doesn't have sodium in it and I want to be able to control how much salt I'm using. So I've been
Okay.
using that. I've used Elementi before and
Oh,
yeah.
wow. So what is, now that we've talked about hydration, what's your favorite food? So no judgment here, I promise.
My favorite food?
Uh-huh.
My favorite food is curry. I love
Oh,
curry. I would eat curry for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's my favorite food.
wow. That's amazing. So now that we have talked about your background, or we started getting into your background, that systems lens, it's going to come through clearly in this conversation. So let's get into it, because I know the women who are watching have real questions and I want to get their answers. So you wrote an entire book, Why You Can't Lose Weight. For the women watching right now who feel like they've tried everything, what's the most important thing that you want them to hear?
Well, it's not their fault. Like, I mean, what I see in my clinic all the time, these women are going to their doctors and they think something's wrong. And their doctors tell them they just need to cut more calories and they need to exercise more. And if you've been doing that for years and years on end, your body is under stress. And cutting calories and exercising more when your body's already in a state of stress is actually going to make things
Mhm.
worse. It's going to make it harder to lose weight.
Mhm.
Um, so it's more complicated. I mean, calories do matter. You can't eat 5,000 calories a day and expect to be super thin. But those aren't the people that I'm seeing. I'm seeing women who have been doing it for years. And they're coming to me and they're eating 1,000 calories a day or 1,200 calories a day. And they can't lose weight no matter what they do. And it's because a bunch of their metabolic pathways are dysfunctional. And
Mhm.
so one of the first things I do is I double their calories. I feed them up and get their body out of that state of stress. And
Mhm.
they're terrified to do it because they think they're going to gain weight,
I
but
bet.
they
Yeah.
don't because we use a really anti-inflammatory diet
Mhm.
when we do it. And so they're always shocked that when we can reduce that stress, then their
Mhm.
body realizes it's safe. You know,
Yes.
yeah. So if you're under eating and over exercising for years on end, your body adapts to that. And it thinks there's no food available. And so
Mhm.
it's gonna hold on to every ounce of fat
Yes.
it can because it thinks you're starving. Like
Yep.
you can't do those diets for years and years on end.
Mhm. Yeah, so your body's just trying to survive. It's like, hey, like you've starved us for so long, now you're giving us something. We're not going to let this go because we don't know when you're going to feed us again.
Right. Right.
Right. So at what point does conventional advice start working against women against women instead of for them? Like I think you had mentioned already that, hey, less calories, more exercise.
Yeah, that's one. I mean, if somebody is overeating, that's probably good advice to start with. But when
Mhm.
people are really, really trying, we don't listen. I mean, we don't
Mhm.
listen as medical personnel to our patients. Part of it is we're so busy and we're seeing patients every 5 minutes. But I mean, we need to listen. We need to listen to our patients. Like They're not
Mhm.
coming in and I mean, sometimes they tell us stories, but they're not coming in lying. Like they're
Mhm.
telling you they're really doing this.
Yeah.
So just believing them. But also in the conventional model, you know, we're not taught to dig deep. We don't get extensive lab panels. We don't look at
Mhm.
things that, you know, like I do a lot of microbiome testing. Like in conventional medicine, they only do that if you have like diarrhea or,
Yeah.
you know, that you have a specific problem. Like they're just not digging deep, and it's just they just
Mhm.
don't know any better. We weren't taught that in medical school.
Yeah. That's why I love functional medicine because, like you said, yeah, we dig deep, and then instead of just like a one-time blood work, that's a snapshot in time. The microbiome testing, I love microbiome testing and nutrient testing as well. Because, like, as a story, I have a family member that was just having some issue, and I said, "Well, why don't we just do nutrient testing?" And we just found out that he was just missing just one essential vitamin, and that took care of things. But
Yeah. We also aren't taught to look at lab patterns. Like I myself,
yeah,
I had kidney stones for 25 years
uh huh,
because my calcium levels were always a little bit high and my parathyroid hormone level was high normal, but it was in the lab normal range.
uh
Well, that's not normal. If your calcium
huh.
levels are high, your parathyroid levels should be low. And so I had undiagnosed hyperparathyroidism for 25 years
Oh wow.
because my lab was not abnormal and nobody, I
Hmm.
mean, and I'm a doctor and I missed it. Like I did, because we're taught to we just look at the lab range on the lab. We don't look
Hmm.
at patterns, and it just got missed, you know. So
For 25
we,
years.
yeah. And you see that all the time too when you're looking, you have functional medicine patients coming to you, that there are
Hmm.
patterns in their labs that maybe it isn't out of the lab range. Um,
Hmm.
that can tell a story.
Yeah, like I have one woman working with me right now, and she has thyroid issues, and so her labs are off with her other provider, and then she comes to me like saying, am I supposed to feel this way because she just keeps increasing my thyroid meds? And then so I test other things, and I look at the pattern of her progesterone. Well, low progesterone. If you have low progesterone, you're not going to absorb thyroid hormones.
Right.
And when I told her that, and she's like, "Yo, really?" I said, "Yeah, take your progesterone because it's gonna help absorb all the medicine." And she just wasn't told that. And yeah, so now let's talk about metabolic adaptation. So, what is it, and what does it trap women in a cycle where the more they diet, the harder it gets?
So, what people tend to do, say your basal metabolic rate is 1800 calories and you want to lose weight. So, you cut your calories to 1500 and that works. You start to drop weight. Well, then you plateau because you've been doing that for a long time and your body's like, I'm supposed to eat 1800 calories and she's only feeding me 1500. I'm going to slow down the metabolism because there
Okay.
isn't any food. And then what do? You drop your calories to 1200 calories and then you lose a little bit of weight and then
Mm,
you plateau. You cannot do these diets and stay on them forever. Like you need to cycle on and off of them. You know,
okay.
I like people to have a couple of days where they feed up, they feed at
Mhm.
their caloric intake that they should be taking for at least a couple days a week. And then maybe you cut them lower for the other days of the week. But
Mhm.
don't keep people on a low calorie diet forever.
Mhm.
And that's what you see with these people. They yo yo diet, they go on and
Yeah.
off, and they keep lowering their basal metabolic rate. And then
Mhm.
they just can't ever increase their calories. So one of the first things I do with patients is feed them up because it's easier to lose weight if you're starting at a higher caloric intake than if
Mhm.
you're starting at 900 calories. I mean, if you come to me at 900 calories, I don't have anywhere to drop you. You pretty much are not going to be able to eat. So I try to get people back up to their like daily energy expenditure, what they
Mhm.
should be eating. And we might do that, you know. And women, we want weight loss right now. Well,
Yes.
you didn't gain 20 pounds in a week. Like we
Mhm.
might need to take 4 to 8 weeks to get you back up so
Mhm.
that your body feels safe because it's easier to drop you from 1,800 or 2,000 calories for a little bit than to drop you from 900 calories.
Yeah, because you hear it all the time. Women say, well, this diet worked for a little bit, and then I
Yes.
plateaued, and then like I ate, and then they're afraid to eat more because
Right, right, right.
yeah, it's like hard to reconcile now at that point. So you're right though. So they just keep going lower and lower. And then when they come to you and you tell them, no, eat more, it's like the fear sets in, like, no, I'm gonna balloon up when I eat if I eat more.
Yeah, and then people start to develop like leptin resistance and stuff, and there's even a syndrome where your brain needs glucose. Like all these women are eating low carb, low carb, low carb, but your brain needs some glucose,
Yeah.
and your brain will tell your pancreas to quit putting out insulin to try
Insulin.
to raise your blood sugar. So because it's starving. Like we
Yeah.
can't, it's not good for us to like eat no carb.
Yeah. I think it's like, people just see what the fad diet is and what this influencer is doing. Look at how skinny they are. And, there's
Right.
so much pressure in society.
Right. And these diets, they work for some people, but they don't work for everybody. Like, there's genetics that come into play, and you need to look at
Mhm.
people's pathways and try to figure out what's going on with them. And I
Mhm.
don't do the same thing with every patient. Like, it's different
Uh-huh.
for each, it's personalized. You have to personalize it.
Yeah. So what does like what would people expect when they come to see you? Like the first, like how, can you take us through your process?
So I like to get a full lab panel.
Mhm.
I love Function Health because they do big lab panels, and look at people's nutrients and full thyroid panels, and look at like blood sugar and their fasting insulin. I see a lot of people who have low fasting insulin, or you might see someone who has high fasting. Somebody with high fasting insulin, you're going to cut their carbohydrates. Somebody with low fasting insulin or low leptin levels is
Mhm.
eating, and so I'm not going to have them do intermittent fasting. I'm going to increase their carbohydrates. So I like to try to figure out what's going on with them. I do stool testing with all of my weight loss resistance patients because there are a lot of findings in the microbiome that can cause weight loss resistance. So if you have
Oh.
like low gut diversity, can
Uh-huh.
play a role. If you have dysbiosis, which is an imbalance of the good guys and the bad guys, that can play a
Mhm.
role. There are some detoxification markers. I see a lot of women who are not detoxifying estrogen, which can cause you to gain weight in your hips and
Mhm.
thighs. Maybe they're not digesting their food. There's markers on there to see if they actually have stomach acid and they can digest their food, or if they're making
Mhm.
short chain fatty acids, which we get from eating lots of vegetable fibers, and there are people out there not eating vegetables.
Uh-huh.
That can play a role in weight loss resistance. So I like to do those. And then I put my all of my clients through, it's called a cleanse. And it's based on the Mediterranean diet, which is the most well documented diet that has the most research. But it's also an elimination diet. We take out the most inflammatory foods, and it's lower in FODMAPs, and it's very high in carbohydrates. And we're using the carbohydrates strategically to help balance out blood
Mhm.
sugar. But that cleanse helps get their liver working better, because your liver is 15 to 20% of your metabolic rate. Like, you want your liver working. And then the carbohydrates help reset their thyroid and their adrenals. And
Mhm.
during that process, I only have them walk or do yoga because I'm
Yeah.
trying to reduce all the stress.
Mhm.
That's how I got into trouble. I was getting up at 4:30 in the morning and going to Orange Theory.
Mhm.
So I was underslept. I hadn't eaten breakfast. I went and did this high intensity interval workout for an hour, and it was causing my blood sugar to go up and stay up for
Mhm.
6 to 8 hours at a time. That's why I started diving into this. I'm like, "I didn't even eat. Why is my blood sugar so high?"
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I try to rest their nervous system.
Mhm.
So they may or may not lose weight during that,
Mhm.
like, 4-week period, but we're just trying to calm things down so we have a better place to start from.
Wow. Yeah, I hear you there. I was doing the same thing because, like, you work out fasted, thinking eating before a workout is not good for you because you haven't digested yet, and then you're going to work out. I was going to F45 like 5 days a week. And I was
Yes.
out of it. I was so, at first, like I built the muscle and then I plateaued for like the muscle building, and then I started packing.
Yes.
So yeah, and then
Yes.
I got all these testings, and then my resting metabolic rate was so low that
Yes.
I was told, hey, just walk. And she told me not to even like walk past zone 1. And for me, that was so hard to believe, because I was like, no, I work out really hard. I was in the Army and I do these things and I can do these things.
Yeah,
And
you can't do the same thing that you used to do in your 20s when you hit your 40s and 50s. You just can't. And we're more sensitive to stress because we make all our sex hormones from cholesterol. Well, you make cortisol from cholesterol too. And if you're not making stress hormones anymore, your cholesterol goes up and you have more cholesterol to make cortisol. So we're not the same being that we were when we were 20. So we can't do that anymore. We have to change what we're doing.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that too, because that's also what I hear is like, okay, I used to do this and I used to eat this way. I'm doing the same workouts, and how come it's not working? So yes, midlife, things change, especially in perimenopause. Our hormones fluctuate all the time. Metabolism fluctuates too. And really, that's why the beauty of functional medicine and seeing someone like you to do these personalized testing and then go from there.
Yes.
So you mentioned toxins earlier and inflammation as part of the big picture. So can you help us understand how those connect to weight loss resistance?
Well, so there are a lot of toxins in our environment that look like estrogens in our body. And, if our liver's not working, we clear most of those things through our liver. And the liver has 3 phases of detoxification. So you take we're all exposed to toxins. We can't get away from it. It's everywhere in our environment. It's in our skincare products, it's in our food, it's in our air, it's in our water, it's in our yards. It's everywhere. We can't get away from it. But your liver takes a toxin and it converts it into an intermediate. And that intermediate is actually more toxic than what you started with. And then that toxin gets excreted by sweat, bowel movements, and urination. And so we see women who don't hydrate, so they're not urinating. They're not having, I had a client the other day, she has 1 bowel movement a week.
That's normal.
we need to be having, we at least 1 a day, but we really probably should be having 2 or 3 a day. And then, a lot of people don't sweat. We're so comfortable. We live in, we're always in 70-degree environments. We stay inside. And so people aren't getting rid of these toxins, and then they build up. Your liver gets sluggish. That drops your metabolic rate. But a lot of these toxins that look like estrogen, a lot of women I see are estrogen dominant, and then that can lead to weight gain in your hips and thighs. So we're all exposed to toxins.
Yeah. So what are the most common signs of toxin burden? So like you mentioned, like packing weight in the hips and thighs. Are there anything else that women need to look for and just kind of flag them that, okay, this might be dealing with more toxin?
It can present as anything. People could have rashes or brain fog. Yeah.
Do you, so
Fatigue.
glutathione is a master antioxidant. Do you recommend that to people?
Yeah, I use that in some people if I think they're having detox issues. I use it a lot. I just had a consult the other day with a lady who has severe mold illness. So, I'll use glutathione there. But yeah, I use glutathione if I think people are having detox issues.
So it's not like it's a must that everyone has to use glutathione.
No, I don't put it on everybody. No,
okay.
I try to figure out who should have it and who shouldn't have it. It's not going to hurt anyone to take glutathione, probably. It tastes like motor oil, but most people don't like the taste of it.
I have the spray. You spray it on skin.
Oh, I heard there was a spray. You're gonna have
Yeah.
to tell me where you got that. I heard there
Yep.
was a spray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have talked about the strategies that worked in our 20s are not working anymore. So what's actually happening inside biologically why it's not working anymore at like perimenopause and as we get older?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is our hormone shifts, but also when our hormone shifts, when our estrogen drops, that changes our microbiome. So that can happen. Women also, when they get in the perimenopause, menopause age, they start to have issues with sleep. We way underplay the importance of sleep. I mess around a lot with a continuous glucose monitor, and I know that if I only get 5 hours of sleep, my blood sugars the next day, the whole entire day will be 20 to 30 points higher, even if
Wow.
I'm fasting. Like, one night of bad sleep really impacts your blood sugar, which will raise your cortisol and cause you to gain weight. So that's very common problem in perimenopausal and menopausal women, that we have sleep issues. Um, and then, like, our hormones are changing. That changes how our microbiome as well.
Yeah, I love the continuous glucose monitor, and it's a really good tool for prevention. And I wish more providers would, just prescribe it as preventative tool. Because when it's prescribed nowadays with our healthcare system, it's too late. Like you only get the glucose monitor when you're
Right.
already diagnosed with diabetes. But for everyone who wants to advocate for their health, you can get it yourself even without a prescription. There's a lot of companies now that do.
Yeah, and the prices come way down.
Yeah, and it's a good tool. Like you said, your blood sugar is high in response to no sleep. And as myself too, it's high when it's stressed. So at the start, I
Right.
like to tell everyone is I had a house guest and like I was running, I was eating healthy, and my blood sugar was continually high. The moment I dropped off that house guest at the airport, I scanned myself. It was
Yeah, and it gives you immediate feedback. Like, some people just need, like, I need the immediate
yeah,
feedback. It's easy to ignore things, but when you've got this telling you,
yes.
and then also, I like my clients to do experiments, like when they're wearing that, like, all right, if you really, really want to have ice cream, can you eat a chicken breast before you eat the ice cream? Like, look
Mhm.
and see what it does. How does that blunt your blood sugar? So
Yeah.
they can, do some experiments while they're wearing it, but it's very, very eye-opening when
Uh-huh.
they can wear that.
Yeah, and you don't have to wear it all the time too. It's like once you know
No.
your pattern and like what spikes your blood sugar, then you can take actions from there and avoid those things, or at least, like you said, layer, like more substantial food before you go straight to the like high calorie
Mhm,
food.
mhm. Or even just going for a walk after you eat for 10 to 15 minutes will
Okay.
blunt the blood sugar response.
Wow. Yeah. So everyone listening, get a continuous glucose monitor.
Yeah, they're
Um,
great.
Yeah. So I want to talk more about the cortisol connection because there's a lot of high achieving women in this community, like professionals and moms who are like always going and, running on empty. So how does the stress load of that affect our metabolism?
Well, cortisol is intricately connected to insulin. So, and it also will blunt your melatonin levels. So, if you're under stress, you're not going to sleep. It's going to raise your insulin levels. It's going to raise your blood sugar levels. You can't put muscle on, it's catabolic. So, even though you're going to the gym, and the gym is a stressor. So, if you're going to the gym, and you're already under stress from other things, you're just
Mm-hmm.
going to make the total stress load even worse.
Mm-hmm.
And then cortisol also impacts your microbiome. So, and I always tell people you have to do the core things first. Like, I don't have a diet or a supplement that's going to help you if you're not going to manage your stress and you're
Yes.
not going to manage your sleep. Like, I
Uh-huh.
have a client I've been working with recently who is eating and exercising everything right, but
Mm-hmm.
she's so stressed out from work.
Yeah.
And it's impacting her ability to lose weight. And she wore a continuous glucose monitor, and she could see that her blood sugar is really high when she's at work, and she's not really even eating there. She doesn't have time to eat. So you have to do those core things. And stress is, honestly, it's just a perception. And people are like, how can you say that? But it's true. Like, if two people are standing on the top of a mountain, one person looks at it and thinks it's the most beautiful thing in the world, and the other person is terrified of heights and can't wait to get off of there. Well, they have totally different physiology going on. Like, when you're in that fight or flight, you know, your body doesn't know if those things are actually happening to it, or it just doesn't know. So it thinks it's trying to run from a lion. So and it's going to conserve energy. Like, if you're constantly under stress, your body thinks that lion is chasing it all the time, and it's going to save the energy so it can run. So, and you're just not going to be able to break down fat. So people have to learn to stay present and realize, you know, it's all up here. That's why I'm reading Mind Over Matter. Like, it really, and you have to keep reminding yourself, because our default is to go to the stress response.
Yeah, it's like it's survival mode. I was in the infertility. I mean, I'm still in the infertility space, helping women get pregnant, and I tell them that your body's last goal is to reproduce if you're stressed, because right now it's just geared to help you survive and live. It's like shunting all resources just to keep you alive.
Right. And we're under so much stress. I mean, people are overscheduled, and they're not sleeping, and they're eating in their cars, and they're not exercising. Like,
yeah, it is. It's like, that's why I love the whole holistic model. It's like, let's look at things. Why are you, it's not just a matter of just control your calories or exercise less. Like you said, people need to sleep. People need to work on, their mindfulness and their stress levels.
Yes.
So we talked about gut as central piece of the puzzle. So you might have answered this already. So what's actually happening in the gut that influences metabolism? And then, like, you also offer a precision gut test.
Yeah. So, I mean, we all have done things to wreck our gut. Even your gut health actually starts at birth. So if you're born by C-section, it doubles your risk to have obesity and diabetes as an adult. I have 6 kids. My first 2 children were born by C-section. They grew up in the same house, eating the same food, and they're both obese, and their 4 siblings are thin as rails.
Oh, and so the ones who are thin
are even though they grew up in the same house, eating the same food, they've had trouble with their weight. We take way too many antibiotics. We take them for everything. That wrecks our gut. Doctors prescribe proton pump inhibitors like there's no tomorrow for acid reflux. That wrecks your gut. Even birth control pills can impact your gut. Anti-inflammatory medications, steroids, those all impact your gut. People eat the standard American diet, which can affect your gut. Even just getting food poisoning can affect your gut. So we all do things that impact our gut health. Most of us aren't eating enough fiber. We need to eat 25 to 40 grams of fiber a day. Our ancestors probably even ate more than that. So getting as many varieties of vegetables. And even when we do eat fiber, people tend to eat the same thing. Like, they're eating broccoli every day. I tell my clients, go to the grocery store and get a vegetable you've never seen before, or never heard of, or have never eaten. You want to get a variety of vegetables because that fiber helps keep your cells healthy and helps produce, like, there's a mucin lining in there that keeps your gut healthy. And then just having, and it helps you get a variety of bacteria. Like, we know that the bigger the variety of bacteria you have in your gut, the less problems you have with weight loss resistance.
And different nutrients too, because like different colors. Like what I tell my clients, pick like different color. Don't stick.
Yes.
We all say like, oh, eat your greens, but really eat your greens, your purples,
Right. Eat all of them. Eat all of them. And the microbes in our gut help produce nutrients.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you got to
And
feed those
and
microbes.
even control our blood sugar. There are, like Akkermansia produces GLP-1. Like, you don't need to take a shot. You need to eat pomegranate seeds and things that
Yeah.
Akkermansia likes. So our microbiome is a huge part of our metabolism. Like, people
Mm-hmm.
don't think about it. There's actually more genetic material in the microbes in our gut than you have in your body. Like, you are more microbe than you are human when you look at genetics.
Yeah, so I think it's really important for that microbiome testing, because just because people say, this is healthy for you. Well, what if you have an overabundant of that that bacteria in your system, and you're thinking, oh, social media said it's good for me, so that's what I'm going to buy. So then you feel terrible.
Yeah, and like Akkermansia is a keystone bacteria. If you don't have enough of it, you don't produce GLP-1, and so you have more troubles with weight. But if you have too much of it, it increases your risk for like multiple sclerosis. So there's like a Goldilocks zone for most
Yeah.
of those things.
I love that you said Goldilocks zone. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that from now on. But I'll quote you though every time. So, now, can someone appear healthy, like to be healthy weight, but still be metabolically unhealthy?
Yes. You can be skinny fat. That's what I was when I started doing all this. My weight was normal, but you can have too much visceral fat, which is the fat that's wrapped around your organs,
Mm-hmm.
and low muscle mass. So you can be of a normal weight and a normal BMI, which we look at, in conventional medicine. You check in, you get your weight and your height checked, and they calculate this body mass index. You could be normal on all those, but have too much visceral fat and not enough muscle. And that can impair your ability to use sugar.
Hmm.
And
So
then
yeah.
people can have other things like thyroid dysfunction or,
Hmm.
blood sugar issues, high cortisol.
Yeah, like one of the standard blood work that I do is fasting insulin, because in a
Yeah.
lot of women's, like we all don't, like a lot of providers just look at the A1C. But then I've also seen a normal A1C, like low A1C, and fasting insulin in the 90s.
Yes, because your pancreas you can have a normal blood sugar and a normal A1C, and then your pancreas is keeping it normal by pumping out tons and tons of insulin to carry the sugar to the cells and get it out of the blood. But having that insulin number is going to tell you you have a problem
Hmm.
before your A1C. Like, we wait until you already have diabetes before we do anything about it in conventional medicine. But if you have that insulin number up front, or I use insulin also, I see them where they're super low,
Hmm.
and it's because somebody's been under eating.
So
Like,
if
they're
it's
not
super
eating.
low.
Yeah, if it's super, super low. One thing I'll see, leptin is another important hormone that helps
Mhm.
regulate insulin. Leptin is made by your fat cells and tells your brain when there are enough fat cells. So you can either have high leptin, and that's a sign of leptin resistance, where your brain is just ignoring the leptin signals. So you have
Mhm.
plenty of fat cells and you're producing all this leptin, and your brain is not listening to it anymore and is ignoring it. Or you can have very low leptin. Like, I had two clients
Mhm.
I was working with in a group recently, and one of them has high leptin and the other one has very low leptin. That low leptin person, their body thinks they're starving, and I
Mhm.
want them to chew food multiple times a day so that we bring that leptin level up, because otherwise the body thinks you're
Mm.
starving and it's going to hold on to, they're not going to be able to drop weight. So different strategies, like I wouldn't do intermittent fasting with someone who has like low insulin and low leptin levels.
Yeah, it's amazing how just that chewing of the food just tells your brain that, hey, something's happening, so like increase that level.
Yes, yes. That's why I'm not like, I use some protein shakes, but
Mhm.
I'm not a huge fan of people like having that as part of their everyday diet. Like,
Yeah.
you need the fullness of the fiber, and Your
Yeah.
body needs to digest the food. Like, we shouldn't be taking food that's already broken down. It'll also spike your blood sugar a lot quicker than if you actually ate the food.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's just like
Yeah,
you're not allowing your system to work as God made it to work. Because like
right.
digestion starts from like you enjoying your food, right? Like you like your food, like all like the juices get flowing once you look at what
Looking
you're going
at
to
it,
eat.
smelling it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
and
it's
even the weight of the food in your stomach, like,
Mhm.
it helps release hormones.
Wow, it's like, yeah, I love talking to you because like I can see your engineering lens here just showing me like why things work and how. So can we talk about selective kinase response modulators?
Yeah, so there are some pathways in your body, these kinase pathways that, like, when you're under eating and you're over exercising, they get imbalanced. And so there are FDA approved medical foods that contain these SCRMs, or selective kinase response modulators, in them, and they help reset those pathways, and they've been shown to accelerate your ability to lose weight by a significant amount. So I like to use those during my cleanse phase. That's like one time where I will use like a protein powder. It's just
Mhm.
because it has these FDA approved compounds in them, and they've been tested. So they've been tested in clinical studies, and they work really, really well. And people like them. And in the shake that they make, it has tons of fiber, and it's kind of like a treat, but it has a medical purpose. Like, I'm using it for a reason, and it
Mhm.
does help people jump start their weight loss journey.
Yeah, I think like people like to hear that too because they get frustrated. They've been trying so many things, and when I tell them like let's just jumpstart this, right? So then kind of gives them hope.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Yeah. So I want to ask you something different. So many women in this community see caring for the bodies as an act of stewardship, and it's connected to their faith. So that does that framing resonate with you? And how do you think about like the deeper work and the why behind the work that you do?
Well, I mean, so your faith, like I talked about in the beginning, how I'm really into quantum physics. And when I started learning that, it made me look at the Bible like in a totally different way. Like, a lot of the stuff in the Bible is really based on quantum physics. Like, um, when you pray, prayer is like a form of meditation. And in the Bible, it says you're not supposed to beg for things. You're supposed to you're supposed to give gratitude as though you already have it.
Yes.
Why? Because when you do that, you raise your heart rate variability. Like, you
Mhm.
feel joy and a swelling in your heart. That changes your heart rate variability, which is like every time your heart beats, it doesn't, this time in between each heartbeat is not the same. It's variable, and it's supposed to be variable. And when we plot a graph of those times, it's supposed to be really, really smooth. And when
Mhm.
you're living in frustration and stress, it's jagged. This heart rate variability is low and it's jagged, and that raises your cortisol. Your brain is constantly looking for things, and it can't look for the joy and the things that you want in your life unless you're feeling joy. And when you have high heart rate variability, you entrain all your other cells, and it affects your health. Like, this is proven in science. Um,
Mhm.
so when you pray and you give gratitude, you're affecting your physiology, and you
Yes.
are going to affect your life and what is drawn to you, because your brain is going to start looking for those joyful
Mhm.
things. And it's all in the Bible. It's all in there. Like, I read
Yeah.
my Bible in a totally different light when I learned more about the science behind
Mhm.
it. Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
how did they know this so many years ago? Like, they
Yeah.
knew this. And we're all connected. I mean,
Mhm.
um, if I come into a room and my heart rate variability is off, I can affect your biochemistry, and they've proven this in studies. They've checked people's immune markers. Like, I have to ground myself and make sure my heart rate variability is good. Like, when we're feeling joy, you can measure that in your energetic field, and it impacts the people around you. So, and there are tons of studies on the power of prayer. I mean, they've done studies on prayer and people in ICUs, and they don't even know the person they're praying for, and it does impact them.
Oh wow.
So, yeah,
Yeah, I love
yes.
that you said that. That's amazing that you said that because I know like a lot of people are like, the Bible is the Bible and then science is science, but they don't contradict each other.
No.
They work well together. There's an explanation. And yes, there's always a higher power, there's God, but like God made us.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So I forgot what I was going to ask you. I just like it's such an awe at what you explained. Oh yes. So yeah, so like how you act affects, like people around you. So the same thing, like when you said like people praying for each other, the energetic field is different, and like how when you're praying, you're meditating, your heart rate variability is different. And the same thing as well for people who just focus on the negative, right? And you notice like a lot of people who focus on that, they're just always mad and just negative, like, and
Or
you
if
wonder
you're
like a lot of bad
even
stuff happens. Or
Or even if you're getting up every day and you're looking in the mirror, I mean, a lot of what I do with people is mindset. If you're looking in the mirror every day and you're like, "I'm so fat, da 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 da," and you're just saying that to yourself over and over and over, "Nothing I do works, da da da." If I can't help you change your mind and change your thoughts about that, it doesn't matter what we do. Your mind is so powerful. And you're creating stress in your body when you're doing that. Like, you have to see yourself the way you wanna be.
Mhm.
Even if I have to get people to say things, maybe they don't believe, like, I have my dream body or I'm at my ideal weight. They can
Mhm.
say something like, "I'm one day closer to that," but they have to stop saying, like, "I'm fat and I'm never gonna get better." Like, because we cannot overcome that as clinicians if somebody is doing that all day long.
Mhm.
So mindset is like a huge part of getting well.
Yeah, it's the wolf you feed, right? Which one?
Yes. Exactly.
So now let's give our audience something they can take with them. So if a woman is watching right now and she's been stuck for a long time, what's the single most important first step that she could take this week?
Definitely sleep. Sleep number one. It is so, so important to get your sleep. And we as women seem to think that we can do everything and we put ourselves last. It's free. Okay, you don't have to go out and buy any fancy supplements, any of that stuff. Um, make time for sleep. And part of doing that is we have to get off our screens at night. That affects our melatonin, dim the lights at night, go to bed at the same time every night, even on the weekends, get up at the same time, keep your room cold, dark, not lots of noise. But
Mhm.
really focus on sleep because it affects everything. It affects everything. So, and that's free. You can do that for free. Like, nothing else is going to work if you don't sleep.
Mhm. Yeah, just like you can't out supplement a bad diet and you can't lose weight without enough sleep.
Right. You need to sleep.
Yeah, there's something called melatonin that's really important, ladies.
Yes, and if you wake up in the middle of the night, do not look at your cell phone, you're messing up your
Oh,
melatonin.
yeah, because that blue light like really affects our brain because it keeps us up, it keeps us stimulated. So if we're staring at that screen up until like we go to bed, our body hasn't really wound down, right?
Right, and our eyes can even detect light, like, off your alarm clock, like, your room needs to be dark.
Hmm.
Um, there were no night lights or alarm clocks in caves when people were sleeping in them, like, we need to turn the lights off.
Yeah. So now let's talk to us about your book. So why you can't lose weight? Who is it written for, and what will a woman walk away knowing that knowing what she didn't before by reading your book?
So it's for women who are committed to losing weight. So it's not really for someone who is, eating junk food and hasn't tried to lose weight. I wrote the book really for people who have tried everything. They've tried different diets, they've been exercising, and nothing they do is working. And so I talk a lot about like metabolic adaptation and gut health and the foundations like sleep and stress. And so it gives people hope that it lets them know that there is an underlying reason for why they're feeling the way they're feeling, because maybe they've gone to their doctor and they haven't been able to get answers. I mean, most of the people I see know that there's something wrong, they just haven't been able to figure it out. So it gives people hope so that they know that there's something going on, and there is a reason why they're not able to lose weight.
And it's not their fault. They shouldn't feel guilty about not
No,
eating
it's
enough.
not their fault.
Yeah. So where can people find it right now?
It's on Amazon. They can get it on Amazon. And it's available on Kindle, paperback, hardback. So yeah, just go to Amazon.
Okay. So what else do you want our audience to know about and how to connect with you?
They can, if they're interested in testing their microbiome, I think you put a QR code up there. They can go and they can get a gut test, and there's like a little mini course that goes along with that. And then if they need help interpreting the data, they can always book a call with me.
Awesome. And should they tell you that they found you on Blue Veil Wellness Show?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, I can't wait to read your book. So it's out now. So Dr. Brewer, it's been such a rich and clarifying conversation with you today. Thank you for bringing your whole clinical mind, your heart to this topic. I know our community is going to return to this episode again and again. For everyone watching, here are the places to connect with Dr. Brewer to continue this work. So her book, Why You Can't Lose Weight, is available on Amazon. The link will be in the description below. And like she mentioned, if you want your gut tested, here's a QR code. And then she's also on Instagram and Facebook at Sherry Brewer MD. Do you have any other last minute things you want to tell our audience, Dr. Brewer?
Just you have more power than you think you do, and you can get better.
All right. And if today's conversation resonated with you, share it, send it to a friend who has been struggling, who has been told everything looks normal, but they deserve better answers. These conversations matter because women deserve to understand their bodies and not just manage their symptoms. Please subscribe to Blue Veil Wellness Show if you haven't already, and leave a comment below. And I want to know, what was the one thing from today that shifted something for you? And I'll leave you with this. Caring for your body isn't vanity, it's stewardship. When we understand how we are made and work with that design instead of against it, we show up more fully for other people and the purpose that God has placed in front of us. So thank you so much for being here. Until next time, stay rooted in faith, intentional with your food, and aligned in function. And I will see you in the next episode.